Hey Georgia shooters, I want to give you a quick format for a first-time shooter lesson off of a table. It works really good, develop some good safe gun handling. There's a lot in this short little lesson and it fits their attention span, not a lot of ammunition. So this is going to let them walk away with a feeling of accomplishment and a sense of relief that the gun is far less intimidating and a lot more fun than they realized, and encourages them to come back for more. And that's the main goal with this first lesson, is to give them a very positive, safe experience and set them off on the right track. So I start with a plastic gun, and what I want to do is have them to make a little peephole, and I'm going to point at my eye like this and stand on the other side, and I'm going to have them to come up as quick as possible and look through that hole at this eye that I'm pointing at. And that is going to allow me to tell which is their dominant eye, the one that they're going to be looking through the sights. We're looking through the sights like a window, not over the top, but through the rear sight post at the front sight post. And we want equal gap on either side and equal height. Then the tip of that front sight is where the bullet's going to land. So that sight alignment and how it overlays on the target all together is a sight picture. And that's going to be moving around. And I don't care if it moves around a little bit as a whole. What I don't want to see is the relationship of the front and rear wobbling around or noodling. I don't want to see the noodling, but I do realize that in a real world, there's going to be a little bit of movement there. So I've got a bullseye target, high center chest at 5 yards or 15 feet. And that's a good reference point to start at, and it's a good skill level to develop. But they're going to walk away with a feeling, again, of accomplishment. We don't want them to fail. All right, so I want them to build a good high grip, and I want them to seal here and then roll around and find out what that little magic touch point is under the trigger guard. Put a little mark there so that they can easily build this high grip, come in contact there, and then roll in, and it all comes together perfect. Now, these thumbs can fly. These thumbs can lay in forward. Doesn't matter as much as I don't want them around back, and I don't want them interfering with the slide and the controls. Once they have a pretty decent grip, they understand that sight picture, I want to have them present into the target. They're hopefully not doing this, and I want them to present it under that dominant eye. I want this EYE, eye time, under the eye, and you're going to think of it like an inverted L, but we're going to drive out under that dominant eye. And we're going to, once we're on target and shooting, we're going to come in and press this dead plastic trigger. Now, I want to see them avert that muzzle away from the target and finger safe when they're not shooting. Then they're shooting, not shooting, shooting, not shooting. The finger's either at home or at work. The only time it leaves home is when we're shooting. All right. Again, safe gun handling. I also don't want them to spin around and the gun follow their eyes. When you're driving and you're talking to the passenger, hey, yeah, want to go for an ice cream? You don't steer into the ditch. I want to keep that car steered down the road and still be able to talk and look in other places without the gun following. Now, once they show they've got pretty good, solid gun handling skills, on the right track, then we're going to get to the real gun. We're going to start off slow. This is a Glock 44. The 44 means nothing. It's just a patent number. We're going to open it. You notice my zippers were on this end, and that's the way I usually store it. So when I come out, muzzle is downrange. My finger's up on this ejection port, and I'm going to turn a little to my strong side so I've got some leverage, pointing the gun level toward the target at all times, and I'm going to ride this slide stop with my thumb and push this back and lock it back. Now I'm going to check the chamber physically and that there's no round in. I'm going to look down to make sure there's no magazine, but I'm also going to look back at that breech face, because that breech face has a striker sticking out. And I don't want that sticking out or any obstruction back there that could cause a problem. So I'm really kind of safety checking the gun as well. And I'm going 1, 2, 3 a couple of different times, because humans make mistakes. And then I'm going to use my John Browning thumb or my AR-15 thumb, and I'm going to drop that slide forward and lay the gun down. Now, one of the things that I got to be careful is lay the gun forward enough so when I grab other things, I'm not in front of the muzzle. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Now, I've got 3 magazines. That's usually what comes with some guns, but sometimes you have to buy that 3rd magazine. I recommend starting with 3 magazines. And so first thing we're going to do is cock the gun. It's empty, and we're going to point toward the target. And I want them to understand coming in contact with this trigger, taking up the mechanical slack, sitting on that wall of resistance and pressing through that speed bump or that transition. They're up on that wall. It takes 6 or 7 pounds to get through it to snap the shot. And then I want them to keep it pinned to the rear while they rack the slide. And now just relax the finger and let it ride the trigger forward to the reset. You'll hear a click, and then we're back on that wall again. Now we can press another shot. So what we've done is we've broken down the cycle of operation of the trigger into 2 pieces so they understand when they're firing multiple shots what's really going on and what it feels like. Now we're going to teach them how to load a bullet into the magazine. Now this round, you don't use the projectile or the bullet to go in first, although believe it or not, a lot of people think that, and it's logical. But we want to go in with the primer first and slide that in. And then we want to realize that when we pick up a magazine, we're not going to pick it up like this. We're going to pick it up like this with the finger down the spine with the tip of the bullet pointed toward the finger. And this is usually resting on this little shelf. So we're going to lay it down in that orientation, bullet forward and up. And then when we pick it up, we're going to come up to the body. We're going to pick up the gun, point the magazine well toward the magazine. And then we're going to get, as soon as we get the tip of the magazine in there, we're pointing in. We're in this workspace around our chin. As soon as we get it started in there in a single motion, we're going to press and lock it in. Now with a rifle, you would actually reach up or pull on the magazine to make sure it's in there. You could do that. And then we're going to roll it, come in. We're going to use opposing forces and very quickly just press the slide at the same time you do that, and it doesn't take much strength, but you get a very aggressive slide rack. Very reliable. Anybody can do it that way. It's all about technique, not brute force. Now we're going to drive in to the target, get that sight picture under that dominant eye. It's going to come up and interrupt this line between the eye and the target, and then we're going to come in, take up the slack on that trigger. Now I can see my sight alignment, and it's floating around the center of that bullseye in an acceptable area, and I'm going to start pressing through that wall straight to the rear. Smooth. Now I'm going to call where those sights were when that shot broke. I'm going to hold it in for a little bit and then finger safe as I come out. Now I'm going to press and release the magazine, let it come out. I'm going to let the gun lay on the table with the slide lock back, and I'm just going to go 1 round at a time. Now this time, okay, I'm going to pick it up. I'm learning how to do that. I'm going to pick the gun up. At this time, I'm going to come over the top and release it. Okay, now I'm going to come out, take a sight picture, take up the slack, smooth. I called my shot, finger safe, come back in, start over. This time I'm going to roll the gun over and do a slingshot method. So pick up, finger in, slack, press. Call my shot, finger safe. Now I'm doing this over and over. I'm learning different ways to release the slide. I'm getting a good sight picture, good fundamentals, good follow through, finger and muzzle safety. A lot of the things that is going to get them off on the right track. Now once they do 10 or 20 rounds that way, look, we've only spent 20 rounds of this 22 with a Glock 44, 4 cents, 5 cents a round. It's been $1 so far. All right, so now we're going to do a reload. So what I'm going to do is load this round, lay the gun down. I'm going to take a supply magazine with however many rounds in it. This is my gas tank. So now I'm going to come in and pick the gun up, finger, take a shot, finger out. I'm going to reload, keeping the gun on point to the target, reload and release it, release it, release it, release it, however you like to do it. Come back in, take another shot. Now, realized that this was a supply magazine. It had several rounds in it. So what happened after that shot? Another torpedo, a fresh one, was loaded into the tube. So this gun is hot. Keep it on point to the target. And what I'm going to do is put this supply magazine down, and I'm going to put this empty one back in the gun. Now I'm going to do another reload. Called my shot. I'm doing all the things. I'm just adding more tasks, right? So the supply comes out, and I could just go ahead and put the empty one in there. And I'm 0 + 1, empty magazine, 1 in the chamber. All right, so I'm not going to try to go fast. I'm just going to show you what smooth looks like, just a nice smooth reload. It's going to be fast, but not because I'm trying to go fast. Does that make sense? Nice, smooth reload. I could see the gun at all times, feel I was in total control of what I was doing. Now this mag is empty. This mag is empty. My gun is empty, empty. I'm gonna put it back in the bag. Zipper's forward, it matched the muzzle. Now I go store it.